One of the more common themes that emerges every legislative session is this local control fight, of state versus local control, whether it's Indy or whether it's Hamilton County. We see it every year. This year's kind of focused on crime, it seemed like, in Indianapolis. I guess, why do you think that was, Kayla?
Well, I think crime is always top of mind in an election year, which we're sort of in one. It's not the most exciting election year, but nonetheless. In Indianapolis, we had a couple of high-profile incidents over the summer involving youth gun violence, and but especially, I think one of the bigger influences on this is the national conversation about, President Donald Trump's administration is ramping up the presence of federal law enforcement in cities, and in some cases usurping the will of those local officials in those cities, and that's how they would put it. So I think this is this is a national theme too. This sort of tug of war between federal and local control. And some of those themes are popping up here. Obviously, the immigration discussion and to what degree do our locals have to comply is one of the biggest bills this session. To what degree can our Indiana National Guard help police make local arrests, and to the extent that local police have that power? And what would that be used for? Mm-hmm. All of these discussions are coloring that bill. Homelessness continues to be a problem in Indianapolis, and even the advocates will tell you that. But now there's this sort of solution coming from an outside interest group that involves, levying criminal punishments that could come with jail time as a way to connect people to services. So, there are problems and there are solutions being proffered that locals really don't like. And that is a tale as old as time, but I think all of these topics are pretty top of mind right now.
Yeah. I know you obviously mentioned a few there. There was also another bill that kind of ties into all that about the Civilian Police Board.
Yeah.
Have you been tracking that one at all? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, and that's interesting because that came about from to back up, in the 2020 George Floyd police reform era, the Indianapolis created this General Orders Board. It's a citizen board. There are also cops on the board that oversee and have approval power over Indianapolis Police Department's policies and how they, use of force, how they conduct themselves. And there's a bill this session that is moving along, probably going to pass, to make them advisory only, which takes us back to essentially pre-George Floyd era, right? There's tons of boards that are advisory, and so the impetus for this was this is something that the Republican minority in the city council tried to do on their own and couldn't get it passed, and they found a Republican senator from Indianapolis who was willing to make a bill about it. But this is again playing into that theme of the state coming in to do something that they think the locals should have done on their own.
Mm-hmm.